I'm pretty sure everyone, if not everyone, has had to go through online schooling. Especially, or at least in the state of California where I live, the online schooling was in effect around mid-March, like March 20 something. So obviously because of COVID-19, everyone was forced to go into online schooling, and it was pretty good until like say somewhere in mid-April, so like after a month, because it just started to go downhill after that. So today I'll be talking about the pros and cons of online schooling. Spoiler alert, there's a lot more cons than pros, or at least in my opinion. But you guys can be the judge of that. So I'll start off with the pros, and then we can talk about the cons. So on the pro side, you have less stress work, so meaning that you don't have to deal with your peers or other teachers slash professors to always like nag you for work, or just peers and your students or your classmates just trying to like bother you. Like, I guess when it comes to, I don't want to say bullying, because not a lot of kids get bullied these days, unless I guess, what was it called, online bully or something like that. I forgot, but yeah, you don't have to deal with that stuff. And also, some people like the fact that they don't need to interact with other people, and they could just stay home and do the work. So if you're more of a laid back person and don't and are pretty antisocial, but you still have to do schoolwork, that's probably like the best for you in this case. And also, one that I think that's pretty good in my opinion is that you can sleep in most of the time. Because for online schooling, or at least when I was in high school, at the time being, I didn't have to meet at a certain time. I could just start my day off at around 10 a.m. instead of 7 a.m. and just do the work and turn it in later on that day. I didn't have to wake up early and worry about going to sleep early as well. I could go to sleep at around like 12 a.m. in the morning instead of having to sleep at around like 9 or 10 p.m. So yeah, those are like the only pros that I could think of at the top of my head. And here's like the cons. Here's when I how I really feel about online schooling. So it gets repetitive after a while, and I think everyone can say that. I'd say at the beginning of like mid March to early April, like we were like obviously getting used to it, and we kind of liked it. But towards the end of April and then with the months leading on, it started getting repetitive after a while. Like it started to get like so tedious. Like you gotta log in, interact, or do the work, and log back out. The day after, log in, do your work, log back out, log in, do your work. You see, and then you get the cycle. And after that, it gets like boring. You kind of miss that feeling of trying to learn new concepts, or the teacher kind of being cringy. Yes, it was terrible, but you kind of miss that feeling, you know what I mean? I don't know, I guess that's just me. Another one that I found myself is that it's hard to make friends, especially for new students. Now, this kind of relates to me. It probably relates to anyone who is, I guess, starting a new school year. For like, if you're moving into high school, if you're moving into college. So for me, when I started college back in August, it was hard for me to make new friends. Um, because we were all freshmen. Most of us were freshmen, but since we were all on Zoom, not a lot of us were willing to interact. And I kind of felt bad because I don't know, but me, I was the type of person to actually interact, talk a lot in Zoom classes, answer the professor. No one else in my class. They would all stay silent or they would type out the answers. And I kind of felt a little bit annoyed, because I actually want to hear people instead of just read the chat. But I can't control that obviously, and that's up to them. But I kind of miss actually talking to people instead of just me and the professor. And this was a lot. This happened a lot to me in my classes, except for one. One of the classes I actually enjoyed was psychology because because we were interactive and we were actually supposed to talk to each other. And whenever we were not in class, the people made a group chat, or yeah, the students in my class, including me, made a group chat together, and we were like interacting with each other. And we even had like personal Zoom calls to just like talk about life and kind of like a virtual hangout, I guess you could say. And I kind of miss that, you know. Like, I like the fact that I was kind of making friends in college for once, and they even like said like hopefully we were able to hang out. But the thing is that I kind of we all knew that once the semester is over, we're not gonna keep up with each other again. We're not gonna talk to each other again, and we're not gonna see each other again. And sure enough, a few weeks after the semester ended, we never talked. And in fact, the group chat is almost dead. I mean, I haven't talked in a while because it's on Instagram. I don't have Instagram at the moment, but I can imagine that's just a dead group chat now. And I kind of like it's sad because I met some friends, but then because we only met on online, that's basically when we can only talk. We never really talked offline. And my third con that I have here is that the concept of teaching is a little bit more difficult for both teachers and students. And I can say for teachers because my dad is a teacher. Okay? My dad teaches fourth and fifth grade students who have learning disabilities, so that's already hard on its own. Now imagine doing it online, that's a whole different ball game. And my dad, I cannot tell you how many times he has told me that today was a difficult day for this one student, or this one student was doing this and that. And I would always ask him, would it be different if it was in a classroom setting? And 100% of the time, he said yes, because he would actually probably talk or not talk, sit down and talk with the student to like try to get their attention instead of just over a microphone over a computer screen saying like, hey, this and that. Hey, let's say Monica. Hey, Monica, why don't you, can you please pay attention, please? You know, like my dad, he has to like discipline them over a computer screen, which is kind of like dumb, but what else can you do, you know? You can't go to their house all the way to wherever they live and like tell them to stop goofing around, you know? Like my dad, how he handles it is like he kicks them out of the Zoom meeting, so that's kind of funny in a way. And for students as well, you know, like these teachers, they use like weird websites, and some of the students have problems because they can't access that website because their computer is different from other people's computers, or it's like privatized, meaning that obviously that you can't access it, but only the teachers can, and they don't know it. So yeah. And then another con that I have is that I feel like it's more of memorization rather than learning. And I can see that in a way because on online learning, a lot of teachers try their best to like not have their students cheat, but it's inevitable, especially over the internet. Okay, students can just Google their answers, and most of the time they can get it right because of that. And I'll be honest, like I have used that tactic one or too many times. And what I find kind of dumb is that some of these teachers, they use a publicized like test, meaning that they take these questions over the internet and place them in their own personalized test. And obviously, when students try to Google that answer or question, obviously it's going to show up because they got it from the internet. And then these teachers and professors, they always get upset like, why are you cheating? Well, maybe if you tried to make your own test, you wouldn't have that such of a problem, you know? And in addition, as a online student, you feel like you just want to get by, especially in college, okay? I can tell you right now, online college is not the move, okay? I know some people who've been taking online college even before COVID was a thing, and I don't know how they do it, but God bless your soul. But I feel like it's more of memorization, meaning that like you just memorize stuff, and once the test is over, you're moving on to the next thing to memorize rather than learning. Because for me, if I want to become a nurse, I actually want to learn the concept of microbiology. I want to learn the concept of the human anatomy rather than just remembering the location of the bones or the epidermis. Okay, like yes, I know them, right? But I don't know their function. I don't know what they do. How can it be compromised in the human body? You know, it's more memorization rather than learning new concepts. You know, so that's why I'm not really liking this online schooling. I don't think anyone is liking it either, to be honest. But I have one final message for you, and all I can say is you just gotta stay in there, okay? You gotta pray to God. I know that sounds cliche, but I can tell you right now, prayer helps, okay? I've been praying, like, especially since this online schooling happened. I was like just saying, like, Lord, just help me. Like, even as simple as that, God help me, and then I can guarantee you it's gonna like give you hope and at least give you just enough energy to do some work in that class. And hopefully, I know in Florida their schools are open, so they're fine, but California schools are at the moment shut down. So, yeah, that's about it.